The 2002 film Spider-Man is, without question, one of the best superhero films that came out during that time. Even after releasing over 15 years later, it's still a pretty great superhero film. Long before superhero films were the norm, this film was it back then. After spending nearly 25 years in development hell, the first live adaptation of Spider-Man finally came out. And it was a major success, making over 800 million worldwide. And it was the first comic book superhero film to gross 100 million during a 3-day weekend. I have to say, I really do enjoy this film. The cast is great. You have Tobey Maguire, who plays Spider-Man, Willem Dafoe, who plays Green Goblin, Kristen Dunst plays Mary Jane, James Franco plays Harry Osborn, and you have the best version of J. Jonah Jameson ever, played by J.K. Simmons. Everyone does a great job in this film. Now, I want to get to the point of Kristen Dunst, who had played Mary Jane in the movie. I thought she did a subpar job. I didn't really like her version of Mary Jane. I kind of wish they went with someone else. Her and Toby had virtually no chemistry whatsoever. And I was kind of wondering what the people really saw in Kristen Dunst and made her get this role. But since, this is an origin film, I'm willing to let it pass. That's a small nitpick I have of that. But like I said, this is an origin film. It's basically the origins of Spider-Man getting bitten by a radioactive spider and becoming a superhero after Uncle Ben is dead. Everyone I talked to over the years really do enjoy this movie. They really think that had it not been for this movie, then we wouldn't have the superhero boom of today. It's a good thing this movie was financially and commercially successful back then, because at the time the only comic book movies that came out during that time were the first X-Men film. That pretty much was it during the turn of the new century. Even all these years later, I can still watch this film and say this film is pretty good. Now, it's not as great as other superhero films that come down the line years later, but I really have to give credit to everybody that worked on this movie. The Spider-Man suit is pretty interesting, to say the least. You have several lines, good. Back then they couldn't do renders with black lines doing red. It was 2002. The Spider-Man theme is probably one of my favorite superhero themes of all time. And I generally like the action. The action was pretty great as well. One thing I have to complain about that I really like about this movie is a small nitpick. What's the Green Goblin suit? Seriously, what the hell was that? In fact, before they even filmed this movie, there was talks about using the old classic design. I kind of wish we went with that, but I get it. They were trying to modernize Green Goblin. And Willem Dafoe just knocks out the park. When he's not in the suit, he delivers 100%. When he's in the suit, he looks kind of goofy. That design looked like a Green Power Ranger. But I can't give this film enough praise as it is. This is one of the better superhero films that came out at the turn of the century in the early 2000s. And that's all I have to say about it. Okay, I'm giving this film an 8 out of 10. Not the best Spider-Man film ever, but it was a great start to the same Raimi trilogy. With an excellent music score, some pretty fun action battles, the production of the entire movie, how successful it was, even the performances from several actors in this film, and of course the amazing performance of Willem Dafoe and J.K. Simmons. Can't give them credit enough. Then you have one of, I'm not going to say the best Spider-Man films, but this film is good for what it is. It did pave the way to the amazing sequel, which will only come out 2 years later. And if you really enjoy this Spider-Man movie, then you already know how great these Spider-Man films end up turning out. Well, I'll do a session, of course, a third, obviously. And that's my review of Spider-Man. Leave your comment section below, let me know what you think about this movie over 15 years later. Does it still stand up to the modern day superhero films? To me, it kind of doesn't because how old this movie is and how outdated it is. And plus, it's really cheesy. I mean, if you take every moment in this film that was real cheesy, then you know what I'm talking about. Nonetheless, though, it's still a great Spider-Man film nonetheless. Up next, I'm going to review Spider-Man 2, the best Spider-Man movie ever. And of course, I'm going to review all those Spider-Man movies coming up on my channel. Alright, this is Slim God 172 saying peace out.